Thomas Partey is returning, and Charles Watts is more than convinced that Thomas Partey will have an involvement in the Arsenal-Norwich game. Now, what is not confirmed is whether he will be playing in that game or on the bench, but he will be involved. Either on, that's according to Charles Watts. He says he will be involved whether on the bench or directly into the game. Now, let's speak about Thomas Partey's injury record before we go into what should be our best pivot this season. The couple of things I've been looking at around, Partey's injury. This is a player who was definitely not injury prone before coming to the Premier League. And that is what I do not understand when he starts getting injury prone at Arsenal. Are we doing something wrong? Are we rushing him back? Are we putting a lot of pressure on him? Because we know in that midfield, at the end of the day, he is the best player. He is the only piece of diamond, the only piece of gold Arsenal have. So rushing Thomas Partey back is a mistake. We know that. But at the end of the day, Mikel is under pressure, and he has always been under pressure, including last season. That's why he always rushes him back. He always, whenever Partey is fit, a little bit of fitness, you've got to play Partey. You've got to come back. That is how desperate we are. And I think we will get to Edu, but I think Edu is a little bit of a disgrace. With Thomas Partey picking up these injuries, we know one of the solutions that we could do is getting a central midfielder that can at least operate without Thomas Partey. In the absence of Thomas Partey, you could get in someone. If you do not want to get someone who's because in Edu's interview, he says he doesn't need to. They deemed it irresponsible to get in a central midfielder, yet they believe Xhaka and Partey are going to be the midfield pivot. But at the end of the day, he talks about backup. You need a decent backup, right? You need someone to back up the lads. And I think the reason that's why Partey is picking up all these injuries is there's a big gap, there is a big hole in the Arsenal midfield whenever Partey is away. And when he comes back, the Arsenal midfield seems to stabilize and get back to normal. But the question, and the big question, is when do you have to bring Partey back? Are we actually forcing his injuries? Are we contributing more and more to his inconsistency in the side? But just what says Partey is most likely to be back against Norwich. That is a very good boost for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal as a side, because we have already said our best 11 is not here. We are losing games without our best 11. So Partey coming back is a big boost. One, we get to welcome back one of our senior members in the squad, but also the most important member and element in the midfield. I think Thomas Partey is the most important element in Arsenal's midfield. So let's talk about it then. If Arsenal then, if we get Thomas Partey back, of course we know what we are getting. We're getting a player who's gonna link our play. We're getting a player who's gonna help us at least control the mobility of the game. We're getting back a player who's getting us, who's helping us, do a lot of hard work and thinking in the midfield. There is no question about that. Then the question now turns to the second page. What is Arsenal's best midfield duo? What is our best midfield duo? How should we line up with Thomas Partey? Because at the end of the day, I still look at it and I'm like, if Arsenal think they can be top 5, they can be top 6, we've got to find our best 11 and we've got to find our best partnerships. Because for me, midfield duos it's all about partnerships. Defensive duos, it's all about defensive partnerships. We could think about Gabriel and Ben White, and they don't work out, and they just don't work out. If they do not work out, you don't force them. You get in the best midfield duo. I mean, the best defensive duo. It's the same thing with our midfield. What is our defensive duo? What is our best midfield duo? Is it Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka? Is it Thomas Partey and Albert Sambi-Lokonga? Or is it Thomas Partey and Mohamed El Neni? Because last season, we did see the best of Mohamed El Neni against Manchester United and against Leicester City when they were playing with Thomas Partey. Mohamed El Neni had more freedom, to go forward, more freedom to pass the ball, and a lot of confidence on the ball. Could Thomas Partey and Mohamed El Neni be our best midfield duo? Now, it doesn't make sense for you, especially to your ears, and I understand that, but it could be that they are our best defensive duo, and we've got nothing to do about it. If they are, definitely we've got nothing to do about it. We just need to support them, right? But look, it would be absolutely crazy for me to think that El Neni and Partey are our defensive duo, our best midfield pivot, because I think in that Mohamed El Neni doesn't do a lot of work when Thomas Partey is on the pitch. It's more like a disguise. Partey is doing a lot of work, and of course it makes Mohamed El Neni look too good and so good. So we can't conclude that Mohamed El Neni really does well with Thomas Partey. But at the end of the day, if you look at the output, Mohamed El Neni actually does too much, too little when he's playing with Thomas Partey, as compared if he played with a player like Sambi-Lokonga or Granit Xhaka, because Xhaka doesn't offer a lot, especially in terms of donkey work. What you have is you bring out a lot of hard work from Mohamed El Neni, and you're gonna have this, you're gonna have him run tirelessly. You're gonna have him run from point A to point B all the time. So probably Partey and El Neni, they look good together, but I don't think they're our best midfield duo. Partey and Xhaka, could it be Partey and Xhaka our best midfield duo? Now, right from day one, I never believed that Partey and Xhaka are our best midfield duo. What Xhaka does is he forces Thomas Partey into a CDM role. Now, I don't think Partey wants to be a CDM. I also don't think Partey fits well into the CDM role. I think Partey wants to be a little bit more advanced central midfielder or central defensive midfielder, a little bit more advanced, and Xhaka doesn't actually allow him to do that, because when you have Xhaka on the pitch, you literally have Xhaka as your CM, you have Xhaka as your central midfielder. Partey then becomes the defensive midfielder, and I don't think Xhaka provides us better than what Partey would provide us with if Partey played as the CM. So I would love to see Partey play as a CM, probably for a couple of games. Try to see him dribble in the midfield, dribble more, create more chances, or try to switch play more. That means if you have Partey as your CM, you will need to have a very good DM, and I think we do have a very good DM in the side, in the squad, and that is none other than Albert Sambi-Lokonga. So for me, look, this is not anything like a confirmation bias, like anyone would think, oh, because he has a confirmation bias on Albert Sambi-Lokonga. He said he's his best signing, and now he says he should be playing in the pivot with Thomas Partey. I do respect the age of Albert Sambi-Lokonga. He's 21 and new in the league, new to the Premier League. So it would be a little bit harsh for me or anyone to just throw him under the bus and say Albert Sambi-Lokonga is now Arsenal's new CDM. But we've got nothing to do. If you're playing players and selecting them off the merit button, then we know that Albert Sambi-Lokonga is the best CDM we have in the side. Not Partey, not Xhaka, not Mohamed El Neni, not Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Forget Ainsley. Forget I talked about Ainsley. So for me, the best pivot could be Albert Sambi-Lokonga, because he's got the pensions. He's got the patience. He's got that kind of patience where he just sits back, waits for things to happen, and then he takes action. He's good at dribbling. He's also very disciplined in the midfield. Helps us win the ball back, gives it to Thomas Partey, and Partey can do the rest. So I think Lokonga, Partey, we will have our time in the Premier League to see this midfield duo. I definitely have no doubts about that. But the little time we saw this midfield duo in preseason, I was impressed. Smash a like on the video if you're impressed, and let me know if you think Xhaka Partey is our midfield pivot, or Lokonga Partey is our midfield pivot, or Partey Elneny is our midfield pivot. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks everyone.